Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lesson 35. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at why nouns in Arabic can be in the mansub case. So as a reminder, if you go all the way back to lesson 3, we talked about how nouns or isms in Arabic can be in 3 different cases. They can be in the marfu' case, and that happens when a noun is the subject of a sentence or describing the subject. So in the sentence, the cat eats food, here the cat is the subject, and so in Arabic it would be in the marfu' case. Majroor happens when a noun is after a preposition or it possesses something. So it's a very specific case. In these 2 sentences, we don't see any nouns in the majroor case. Then there's the mansub case, and this happens when the noun is the object or in any other situation. So here, the cat eats food. Well, food is the object of the sentence, so it would be in the mansub case in Arabic. Here I gave Bilal the letter. Bilal and the letter are 2 other nouns. So the letter is the direct object. Bilal is what we call the indirect object in English. But all of these other nouns basically are going to be in the mansub case in Arabic. Okay, so what we have here is when the noun is an object or in a bunch of other situations. And so in this lesson, we're going to take a deeper dive into these other situations that can cause a noun to be in the mansub case. And there's 5 of them that we'll be covering. So the first of this is absolute negation. Second is repetition of a verbal noun for emphasis. Third is adverbs that specify. And fourth is adverbs that describe a condition or hal. And fifth is you can use mansub to kind of indicate because of. So let's dive into each of these 5 situations and go through examples so we can understand them better. We'll start with number 1, absolute negation. Now this is one that should be quite familiar to any Muslim, and that is because it appears in the Shahada. When we say La ilaha illallah, you'll see that after the word La is a noun, ilaha illallah. So ilaha here is in the mansub case. You'll see it has a fatha here. That's how we know it's in the mansub case. And basically what this means is this: when you see this construction like this one, La followed by a noun in the mansub case, that means absolutely no. So La ilaha illallah, there's absolutely no God but Allah or but God. Okay? Now, this happens many different times in the Quran. Let's see a couple more examples about it. In Surah Baqarah, La rayba fihi, there is absolutely no doubt in it. And here, La rayba, so you'll see again, rayba is in the mansub case. One more example here, La maradda lahu. La maradda lahu, there is no turning it back. There's absolutely no returning it. That's how you can translate this. And so again, in both of these cases, we see the word la followed by a noun in the mansub case. So that's the first thing, absolute negation. What else can cause a noun to be in the mansub case? A very interesting one is when a verb gets repeated as a noun for emphasis. And so let's take a look at an example because that's how it's best to understand this. This ayah here, إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجًّا, when the earth is shaken, you'll see that's, if I was to just read the first 3 words here, it would say when the earth is shaken. But then the verb rajja appears again as a noun this time. Rajjan is the verbal noun corresponding to this verb. So a literal translation of this might be, when the earth is shaken, a shaking. But in Arabic, that's not how you actually translate it. What it actually means is something like, when the earth will be shaken violently. Okay, it's used to emphasize the severe nature of the verb. Okay, so again, let's take a look at maybe a couple more examples to make this super clear. We have here in this verse, عَدَّهُمْ عَدَّا. So عَدَّهُمْ means he has numbered them or he has enumerated them. But then عَدَّا appears again as a verbal noun in this case. It's a noun. عَدًّا means numbering. So you might translate this literally as he has numbered them numerically. But of course, in Arabic, that's not what it means here. Here it means more like he has numbered them precisely, to all the way down exactly. Okay. Sometimes this verbal noun can be repeated itself, which again adds a further level of emphasis. So إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا, when the earth shall be pounded into bits and bits. That might be one way of translating this. Okay, so you see here, dakka is the verbal noun corresponding to dakka here. Okay, let's move on. So the third condition is adverbs that add a level of specificity to the verb. And I'll just give one quick example here. So here is ishta'ala ra'su shayba. I believe it's Prophet Zakaria speaking here. When my head is aflame with grayness or of old age, basically referring to his old age. He's saying that his hair is all grayed and old. And so here, what we have here is, you could just stop the sentence here, ishta'ala ras, when my head is aflame or it's like colored with something. But this adds a level of specificity. And so because this is an adverb, essentially in English we call this an adverb, something that describes how a verb is acting, you should give it the mansub case. Okay, you should give it the mansub case. When my head is aflame with grayness or old age. And a related reason that an ism can be in the mansub case is if it is an adverb that describes the condition that the subject is in while they're carrying out the action. So let's take a look at an example to make this clear. So asbaha fil madina. So let's start with that phrase. Asbaha fil madina means in the morning he was in the city. Khaifan, when I add that word, it means in the morning he was in the city afraid or in a fearful state. And so because this khaifan describes the state of the subject while they're doing the action specified in the sentence, this becomes an adverb that describes hal. And so as a result, this takes the mansub form. You can see khaifan, the double fatha here, which means that khaifan is in the mansub form. Okay, because it's describing the condition of the subject while they're carrying out this action. So this happens very frequently in the Quran, so let's see a few more examples here. So da'ana qa'idan aw qa'iman. He called to us, so he invited us, qa'idan aw qa'iman. So qa'idan means sitting, qa'iman means standing. So he called to us while sitting or standing. Now interestingly, this can happen when these adverbs are pluralized as well. And so we see the same adverbs appearing in plural form in a different verse. يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا. They remember God standing or sitting. So here now standing, qiyaman, is the plural of qa'iman, because now the subject is also plural. يَذْكُرُونَ, they, plural. قُعُودًا, sitting, is the broken plural of qa'idan. So both of these are broken plurals, but they're in the mansub form, which is what's important here. Alright, and then the final reason why you might see an ism in the mansub case is to indicate because of. So if you see the word here, hasadan min indi anfusihim, if I was just to translate this, I would say envy from themselves or something along those lines. I would say like envy on their parts. But because hasadan is in the mansub case, this is used to indicate that what is being said here is because of envy on their part. Hasadam min indi anfusihim, through envy on their part, or because of envy on their part. Let's take a look at another example. Hadar al-mauti. Hadar means fear, so hadar al-mauti means fear of death. But because hadar is in the mansub case, there must be a reason for it. And then the reason for this is because it's saying for fear of death or because of fear of death. You know, they did certain things because of fear of death. ابتغاء مرضات الله. ابتغاء means seeking. مرضات الله, the approval of God. So because they are seeking the approval of God, that's why ابتغاء, it's in the mansub case. Alright, so we've seen 5 different situations that can cause an ism to take on the mansub case. I'd like for us to do a few exercises, and in these exercises we will translate these verses and then also recognize which of the 5 situations is being applied in this example. So number 1, لا غالب لكم اليوم. So Shaitan in this verse is speaking to his followers. لا غالب لكم اليوم. Ghalib means someone to overcome, someone that will overcome you. So لا غالب لكم اليوم, there is no one that will overcome you today. He's giving a false promise. لا غالب لكم اليوم, there's no one that will overcome you today. Okay, so what case is being applied here? Well, this is the case of absolute negation. So he's saying there's absolutely no one that's going to overcome you today. خَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا. So خَرُّوا is to fall. So they fell to him, sujjada, in a state of sajda. So this is an adverb that's describing how they fell. So kharru lahu sujjada means they fell in a state of prostration. And this is referring to Yusuf's brothers, I believe. So they fell to him in a state of prostration. تُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. Alright, so this is a very powerful example. تُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. They love wealth, you love wealth here. So it's second person plural. So you all love wealth with a hubban jamma, with an absolute type of love. You love it so dearly and you hold it onto it so tightly. تُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. So you can see here that the hubban is being repeated as the verbal noun corresponding to habba. تُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. Verbal noun being repeated. لا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق. Do not kill your children fearing poverty. Okay, so you do not kill your children while fearing poverty. And so khashyata imlaq is describing what state the subject is in while they're carrying out this action. Alright, may Allah protect us all from this. And so that covers the exercises that I will want to go through in this section. This is a very important concept, and so I would like for you to practice this on your own. Here are some more exercises that you can try on your own. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.